Mashatile, when answering questions in the National Assembly on Thursday, agreed all parties should be part of this conversation.
The matter of coalition government is important and requires urgent attention and our collective wisdom. I have responded to similar questions in the National Council of Provinces about coalition governments and a need to convene a national dialogue on coalitions.
Opposition parties will keep a close eye on this process.
I think it's a historic discussion we are having at this moment. For the first time in 29 years, the ruling party is talking about coalitions.
In Wednesday's meeting of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, no decision was taken on whether or not to proceed with a full inquiry into allegations of widespread corruption and criminal cartels at Eskom. Some MPs proposed the establishment of an ad hoc committee. Others were sceptical, opting for Scopa to investigate. This comes as Scopa has been dealing with evidence from stakeholders regarding allegations by former Eskom CEO Andre de Ruyter.
I think there's still a number of people that we have to give them an opportunity and to interview in as far as the whole saga is concerned. So it might be premature so far to say this is the route that we must probably take.
We haven't really got to a point where there's sufficient evidence and information to be able to make substantive recommendations in a report to the National Assembly. So I think that we're all in agreement that we need to look further.
Some MPs accused de Ruyter of being an accomplice to the alleged criminality.
It's criminal. 2, he failed in every aspect of leading Eskom. Now he is telling us that certain individuals were stealing out of Eskom. Wasn't he stealing himself? He failed to do what he was supposed to do. Why are we not laying criminal cases against him?
Meanwhile, National Security Advisor to President Cyril Ramaphosa, Dr. Sidney Mufamadi, appeared before Scopa on Friday. De Ruyter alleged he also informed Mufamadi about the names of a senior politician involved in corruption at Eskom.
Was there any name dropping? Yes, there was. I can't remember the various designations that were used. On one hand, I understand Mr. de Ruyter talks about high-ranking minister, high-ranking political office bearer. On the other, he talks about a minister. I can at least say, yes, there was a mention of a name or names.
The committee is yet to finalize the list of all people it still wants to hear from. In other news in Parliament this week, Minister of Public Enterprises Pravin Gordhan said citizens should settle for load shedding until at least December this year. He was tabling his department's budget vote in the National Assembly. Gordhan said the desired energy availability factor, which is set to end load shedding, is on track to be achieved in March 2025.
We now know that we have to, as a population and as the economy, settle for load shedding of a significant order until the end of the year at least. However, nonetheless, determined efforts are being made by government to ensure that the recovery of the generation capacity of Eskom must be complemented by the introduction of new capacity to end load shedding. The generation recovery plan to increase energy availability factor to 70% by the 31st of March 2025 still remains in place.
He also said South African Airways has been saved from liquidation following the sale of the majority stake to a private consortium, the Katso Consortium. Meanwhile, during the Africa Day snap debate held in the National Assembly on Thursday, there were renewed calls for the African Union to intensify efforts to resolve conflict on the continent. MPs hailed the role of South Africa in peacekeeping missions on the continent.